Very good morning to all of you. It's a pleasure to have all of you this morning. And I would like to start by welcoming my eminent panelists for today's discussion. Starting with Amit Nagpal, he's the Director Development for Hyatt Hotels. Amit, welcome you on board. Can you say hi to all the audience, please?
Hi, thank you.
Thanks, Amit. Thank you very much. Atul Jain is the Chief Operating Officer for Best Western Hotels, and he's taking care of the India, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh. Atul, can I have your...
Good morning, guys.
Great. Thanks, Atul. Mr. Baljee is the Chairman and Managing Director for Royal Orchid Hotels. It's a listed entity, and it's one of the most prominent domestic brands in the country. They have 55 plus hotels. Mr. Baljee, welcome you on board. Thanks. Balvinder is taking care of the development for Accor Hotels in India. Balvinder, thanks a lot for your presence.
Hi, everyone.
Anika. Thanks, Balvinder.
Hi.
Anika. She's taking care of the Director Development for Wyndham Hotels and Resorts for EMA region. And thanks a lot, Anika, for your presence. And let's hope for a very meaningful discussion in the interest of the hotel owners and the industry professionals. Thank you for your presence, all of you. Anika, I would like to start with you. Franchisee is, big word when it comes globally. We have a good, presence of franchisee transactions in the Western world. But when it comes to India, less than 10% of the market share is with the franchisee and organized inventory. Okay, why so? Question number one. And second, what are you bringing on the table as a franchisee brand for the hotel owners?
Okay, thank you, Nandi. So first of all, I would like to throw some numbers. At Wyndham Hotels and Resorts, we are globally 9,300 hotels. 95% of our portfolio is franchise. So we are undoubtedly the largest hotel franchises in the world. In India, if I have to cite numbers, we have got 75 hotels, out of which 48 are operational, and 100% of our portfolio is franchise. In the last 5 years, we have quadrupled our portfolio, and I feel this is primarily owing to the strategic advantage that we enjoy in terms of being a leading franchise player in India, right from the mid-market to the upscale and upper upscale segment, which is probably a unique value proposition that we bring to the table. Coming to your second question on what exactly does a franchise brand bring on the table? Well, it's an entire 360-degree gamut of services that we are talking about. And the whole life cycle of hotel development and operation starts from when we get a project. So whether it's an operating hotel or a new construction, it is first reviewed against international fire life safety standards, which are very, very sacred to us. Thereafter, it is reviewed against one of the 20 brands and a suitable brand is advocated for the said project, whether it's a Wyndham or a Ramada or a Howard Johnson or a Days and so on. We handhold the entire design development process at key milestones, concept, schematic, design development, mock-up, pre-opening and so on. Organize pre-opening training for the staff and general manager and HODs. Get the system live on our portals in terms of brand.com, in terms of OTAs, in terms of GDS, and so on. And thereafter, once the hotel is operational, a multitude of operational support services are provided, right from brand standard compliance to quality audit, to training, to Wyndham Rewards loyalty program support, sales and marketing, and the works. So this is how we bring the support to our franchisee hotel owners.
Thanks, Anika. Amit, coming to you, what's the current state of franchising in India, in Indian hospitality context? And why do you think that we are not as, the franchisee transactions are not as relevant to our Indian hotel industry as it is for the Western world? What's the reason, what you feel so?
See, I think there are quite a few reasons. If you try to let's try to dissect this in two scenarios. One scenario is where, let's say, the owner is having a third-party management company, and he's built a hotel. Now, what has happened in India is that when you start to look at the fee, generally speaking, the management fee with the brand, it adds up vis-a-vis with the third-party operator and a franchise from a brand. Management fee tends to be more competitive in the current scenario. And of course, the owner has, these brands have much stronger infrastructure in place and support system in place. So generally, owners tend to then go ahead with the management company, with the operator directly with the brand, as an operator of the hotel as well. So that's one scenario. Second scenario is, let's say, if the hotel owner is managing on his own. Now, what happens in that is that a lot of Indian owners, they are first-time owners, and they are owners of single or dual assets. So the challenge is that they do not have strong infrastructure in place, a strong leadership team in place, which is over and above the hotel level. So because of which, the challenge happens is with a brand like Hyatt, we want those things in place. If that is not there, then it's very difficult for me to offer a franchise for that particular asset. So I think these are if you add these up, and I think these are the primary reasons because of which we're still in a nascent stage. And I'm hoping that we do get hotel owners who build hospitality as their vertical within their group. So that and because of that, they will grow the infrastructure. They will make sure they have strong leadership team. They'll make sure they have strong sales and marketing setups, and then they will be able to easily attract bigger brands, or all kinds of brands, in fact, and will be able to then owner manage and franchise with the brands, which will be a pretty win-win situation.
How's your portfolio split at this point of time? How many franchisees you have in India market?
So, in our case, we have 33 operational hotels in India, and only two are franchise. And they're franchised with one company that has got that owns other four Hyatt hotels, which are managed by Hyatt, and two are again owned by them, but they are the ones who manage it. Plus, they own total 24 hotels globally, more than 2,000 rooms. So they have a pretty strong setup. And we recently signed up Hyatt Regency in Navi Mumbai with K. Roheda Group. Uh, uh, Again, an owner with very large asset portfolio and a very strong leadership team there, and a strong infrastructure there as well. So for us, that's very critical.
And how's the development pipeline for franchise transaction looking for you as a
Um,
company?
so if you our current portfolio of operational hotels, it's around 5-6% is franchise. I would say in pipeline, I would say around 10 odd percent is what we'll be looking at, not more than that. So it is gradually growing. We are also evolving with that, and I think as we move along, it will get better with more and getting more and more owners with strong leadership team and infrastructure in place.
Sure. Mr. Baljee, do you think the absence of third-party operation management companies is one of the reasons why franchisee transactions market share is very limited in our country at this point of time?
Well, I'll just give you a journey of franchise ourselves. See, we were franchisee, we took a master license of Ramada Hotel about 12 years back, and so we wanted to go into the franchise model. And actually, our dealing with Ramada showed us why franchise won't work and what needs to be done to make it work. That was when we started. And then today, 60 hotels. Out of 60 hotels, 12 are franchise, 12 are our own, and 26 are managed. So franchising we got into 2 6 and not very long ago, but 3 or 4 years. But we understood what franchise want. They want good RSU support. So which we had, because we were 90%, we had we realized that the franchisees require much more support in India than they probably require abroad. So franchisees will reach RSU support. Which is to say that you are on an international platform does not mean very much unless the market is international. Okay, most of the places where you are in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, your international client is very little. So you are not going to get very much business from US, UK, Europe and all that. So it's meaningless to be on that platform unless your productivity will be very low. Right? It's good to have a good brand, fine, it's great, but the productivity will be very low. So RSOs produce a lot of business for our hotel, and which we have a very strong RSO. And we have a very strong platform like Salesforce.com. We get after them, we have weekly calls, we really get after people to produce. Besides, of course, being on online marketing and website and all that. But website is getting killed by a lot of these OTAs coming in. We have to understand that. So OTAs will play a major part in the whole thing. But then manpower. Now, you see, what all the difference between management and franchise. The franchise does not mean that you give him the name, you give him this thing, and let him spend for himself. Because he requires a lot more handholding. An Indian owner is very, very egoistic. He says that I run a factory, I can run a hotel, and there's no difficulty. So he is very, very egoistic. He wants his ego to be pampered. So he said, I'll run the hotel. But if you run the hotel, means you're providing the various supports. If the franchise has to be successful, which we realize that is training, and is to support that because training we have a college of hotel management, we've got online training going on for all the people. So we have a very sophisticated college of hotel management which is running for the last 25 years. So we have support there. And of course, on other things, we have everything available on Anika. Suppose the guy wants training to be done, our people go there at a short notice, train people and come back. You have quality management. We do get QMS reports regularly, and we tell the owner that this is the problem you have, and you need this support. So we can send our people go and fix it up. We do mystery audits of the hotel. So we do mystery audits, and if they find there's a problem, now we have made it compulsory now for franchises that they have to do 1 or 2 mystery audits per year. So, and after the audit, they have to actually be prepared for the training. And they can't say, no, we can't, we don't want training at all. So it is required there. So I think we have tried to, give all that, a management company offers, plus ego of him to satisfy his ego that he is managing the hotel, but, actually not managing. But certain cases, our experience has been exceedingly good. Because a guy has returned from Switzerland after training, and he knows hotel management, and he is very enthusiastic. His son is very enthusiastic about running the hotel. Can we do a better job? No, we can't. We can provide it. So I've had some owners who are very educated, but they required our distribution. So they've taken us, and I think that partnership will work exceedingly well. Of course, there's been cases where we've had a lot of interference from owners because they are the franchise, we can't do anything about it. Now we're going one more step of franchise. We're insisting that we have a general manager, so he reports to us, and we're telling the owners that look here, there should be only one particular person who is from the owner's side. Otherwise, you have all the chachas and the bhatijas and everybody coming to the hotel and telling the DM, "Arey, come here. This is not right. That is not right." So it is a tough thing, but I think we have cracked it. So we got now 12 hotels. Now we got brands in terms of Regenta Central, which is the 4-star brand. With Regenta Place, which is the 3-star brand. In fact, our Amada has been converted to Regenta Place. Then we have a budget brand also, which is Regenta Inn. And of course, we are reviving our old brand, Peppermint, which my son used to run. We are reviving that for the budget brand. So I think we are going to be pursuing franchising also, looking at this whole market scenario.
Thanks, Mr. Baljee. Atul, coming to you, what's the criteria for you when you do a owner selection for you, in your case, for the Best Western franchising?
First of all, I would like to say that we have 14 brands altogether in the Best Western portfolio. It's just not only the Best Western. Yes, Best Western was the primary brand, and we grew in America. The largest portfolio number of hotels is Best Western. But after that, Best Western introduced many more brands in the last couple of years. So we have brands in the economy range, we have brands in the budget range, then mid-scale, then upper mid-scale, and upper scale. So depending upon the location, depending upon the size of the hotel and the facilities, then we advise the owners that this is the best brand for you, keeping in mind the location, keeping in mind the market scenario and the demands. And when we choose an owner, we'll have to see that what is his need. Is it a room-based hotel, or is it a F&B driven hotel? So it's a mix of hotels. What we have seen is most of the hotels are driven 50% revenues between room and the F&B. So depending upon that, we choose and we advise the owner on the brand what is best for them.
Thanks. Anika, you're running 48 plus hotels are right now under the Ramada and your other brands flags. What do you think owners actually interfere in day-to-day operation, or it's the GM who finally take calls? What's your experience with these such transactions? As Mr. Baljee was saying that sometimes owners interfere a lot in his experiences. How's the Ramada experience in this context?
So first of all, Nandi, I would like to say one thing, that when you're choosing franchise, one needs to understand the difference between what you know, what you want, and what you actually need. Okay. So, as Mr. Baljee said, probably franchise with an international brand was not his cup of tea at that point in time. However, there could be the right and ideal combination of a particular project and owner who needs either an Indian franchise or an Indian management contract, or a foreign international franchise or an international management contract. So the variables completely collude to one single decision-making aspect, right? So coming now to the question on day-to-day interference, as you say, I wouldn't like to call that interference. I would like to call that involvement. Our experience is that once we help the owner appoint the right general manager, the GM is practically the captain of the ship who brings in his entire entourage of HODs on board, and he drives them to deliver the owner's financial vision and the brand standards at the hotel. Once that is achieved, there is no compelling reason or requirement for an owner to be involved on a day-to-day basis, should he not wish to. Now, if he wishes to, that's a different matter. But from a professional requirement point of view, it's not really compelling, right? I would also like to add by saying that only probably 8 to 10% of our entire portfolio has owners involved on a day-to-day basis. Everybody else has left the operations to a set of professionals, as I have just described to you. The diaspora of our owners ranges from hardcore hoteliers to real estate developers, to business interests in being spices or textiles or liquor or F&B business, banqueting. So I wouldn't say that the owner needs to be involved on a day-to-day basis.
Thanks, Anika. Balvinder, coming to you, Accor has a strong SOPs like any other international brand. And how you make sure that your franchisee actually follow those SOPs? What are the mechanisms which you follow to keep a track on that? So at the end, consumer experience doesn't get compromised, because for a consumer, it's an Accor hotel. It's not a franchise or management. That's an in-house arrangement between the owner and operator or a brand.
So before I get on to that, let me just take a step back.
Can you just come closer to mic, please?
Is it better? I'm sorry, I was having issues with my phone. That's the reason I was going up. Okay, before I take you to, before I answer that query, let me just take you back. See, Accor internationally, we operate more than 5,000 plus hotels. And when you look at a global portfolio, from a global portfolio perspective, more than or almost 50% of these hotels are franchised. Now, to answer and to circle back the discussion that we were having before, see, for us, it is by design in India. Like Mr. Baljee said, see, at the end of the day, nobody is looking at just a name on top of it. So I think for Accor, the decision has been, we wanted to put up system and processes in place through management contracts, our own investment. So we are totally ready. We have the right support for all the things that Mr. Baljee said, what an owner needs. Be it a regional sales office, be it a distribution ecosystem. All that is in place. So for us, it's by design. And we currently operate 2 franchise operations in India, which are doing pretty well. Now, how do we take control of them? Of course, since franchisee is new for us, we've been into it for the last 2.5 years, and we took a break. We did not keep on signing the franchise contract. So our thought process was to learn from our franchise experience in India, which so far, frankly speaking, has been pretty good. How do we do is we look at yearly audits. You have a health and hygiene audit, you have a brand safety audit, you have a loyalty program audit, and we have an in-house audit. Because like you rightly said, for me as a consumer, when I walk into a hotel, it is an Accor brand. And that is one of the reasons that we did not go all out for franchising. We wanted to get a system right so that not only we can support the owner, but we can also support the consumer and make sure they get consistent experience. In a nutshell, the regular audits that we do, the alignment that we are able to do of these franchisee hotel, along with the management hotels, wherein the senior GM is always there, or given our area network coverage, we have multiple hotels in the location, and we generally have an area manager which is there for all support and check and balances.
Thanks, Balvinder. Amit, coming back to you, in a management contract, operators set up the budget in advance for a whole financial year, and the owner has signed off together with the operator. And if there is any difference, then obviously operator owner is going to have a difficult conversation if the deficit side is there. Okay. Now, in the franchise, how much involvement as a brand you have when it comes to the financial performance, setting up the budgets and the tracking the budgets and delivery of the promise what the GM made at the property?
So brand has limited involvement in that, especially in the setting of the budget. That's what I'm particularly talking about, because the hotel is being managed by either the third-party operator or by the owner. So they are the ones who prepare the budget, and if we definitely give them budget guidelines as far as what expenses they would be looking at from the brand side. And then based on that, they create their own budget. And if they would like us to review the budget and have a discussion on that, we more than welcome that. And what's very important for us is we need to create a really good sales and marketing program, because we need to understand how they would go ahead and manage these properties, manage the sales and marketing, and try and earn revenue for these assets. So that's very critical for us. We get involved in that a lot more. So that's what we're looking at. And as far as any other involvement is concerned, I think our team is there to support them as far as the revenue management is concerned, or as far as other trainings, IT trainings, and those things are concerned. So as and when they require that, we definitely provide them that kind of support.
So these services are on ask basis, or these are mandatory in franchise arrangement?
Which particular service you're talking
about? Like you said, IT support, whenever they ask for, we are always there to support them, or the sales and marketing distribution.
See, IT, so initially, of course, the training happens. Now, what's very important for us is any system that has got anything to do with the guest, that we keep exactly the same as our managed hotels. So like your Opera, which is a property management system, and revenue management system, which we have Prio, or sales and marketing system. So these systems remain exactly the same. So that when a guest goes from one property to the other, his or her experience is very similar. So, but then there are systems like HR or finance. So they have the liberty to choose their own systems, the operator. So we have a set of core system for which we do provide all services and the training as well. And there are non-core ones which they're open. If they would like to have very similar system as we have, we are actually happier, because something like Hyperion, which is our financial system, the kind of it makes your operation very efficient from financing point of view. So even when you're doing budgeting, it's much easier for you to put in numbers, and it throws you a lot of different scenarios that you can look at. So it makes your life much easier that way. But again, it's not mandatory from our end.
Thanks, Amit. Mr. Baljee, you wear both the hat. You are an owner also, and you run a brand also. Now, when a franchisee arrangement transaction is there with you, how your team make sure that asset is getting the best return, whatever the potential is available, considering the market dynamics on the air occupancy, but that asset remains the best in the concept, in the performance side.
Today, there are indicators available like STR and all that, which will tell you where, because owner will always be unhappy, no matter how well you perform. He'll always be unhappy. He know you could have done better. That's our typical psychology. I've had cases where we have even exceeded the budget. Uh, so they say no, but this other hotel is doing much because RSUs are performing much better. With some vague information. Ultimately, the overall target, what is there? Of course, in franchise, you are not totally responsible for the target because a large portion of the money comes from F&B. A lot of people are, there are a lot of business to F&B and which may be counted, may not be counted, which we are not concerned with. So a lot of owners are interested in franchise because then they can run their balance sheet, they can run their expense account, they can run anything on their own. So I think that is one thing which I found a lot of owners are interested in franchise because primarily because of that reason. Right? Because their accounts are not public, their accounts are their own. They can put their personal account into that, they can take cash, their problem. But hotel, while the hotel guests are accounted for, and there, as pointed out by other panelists also, we are not responsible for achieving any budgets. Of course, we help them, we guide them, but the onus is there. No, that is what the principal thing is as far as franchise is concerned. Otherwise, we tell them that if you are so particular, we give us the money. So we are giving them money, and because the franchise, we give them an option. I've had a lot of cases where discussions started with a franchise, they ended up in management. A lot of discussions were started off with the management, ended up in a franchise. So I find that in the discussion, I find that guy is really keeping on keeping happy with every damn thing. I said, please take a franchise, you will be better off, and that's it. And you know very well, you transacted a couple of deals with us, and then you said thank you very much. Okay.
I hope that is on lighter note only. Okay, Atalji, coming to you. What type of business you are giving to your hotel owners from your group? Because Best Western is fully a franchise, largely is a franchise-driven company in the country. So how much business is actually coming from your RSOs or your other distribution channels to the hotel owners?
Okay. First of all, let me clarify that Best Western in India is not purely a franchisee company. Our 45% portfolio is a managed properties. And yes, globally, we are 99% hotels are franchised. But in India, we are managing the hotels. So since we also look after the Bangladesh hotels are all franchisee, barring the one. We have recently opened our office in Bangladesh, and through that office, we would be providing our management and sales and other services. When it comes to the support and the delivery to the hotels, the delivery goes through the various channels. So one is that 24/7 call center we have, which works 24/7 in India. And apart from this, we have RSLs based at Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, and Punjab. So these RSLs contribute and look at the local negotiated rate contracts and agreements with the clients. And apart from that, we have a very, very strong RFP system for 500 Fortune companies, through which the clients, the hotels sign up and they get direct business through that. And we have signed up a direct connect with OTAs like Expedia and Make My Trip and GoAbibo, and at a reduced commission. So thereby the owner is directly getting the benefit of the reduced commission that goes to their account. And apart from that, Best Western has 68 global offices, and those global offices are available for support to any hotel worldwide, 4,500 hotels, in terms of the contract signing, in terms of arranging and finalizing the deal. And the most important aspect is a loyalty program. Best Western has world's best loyalty program, having 45 million members worldwide. In America, the program is contributing about 40% of the revenue. In India, as of the February figures till date, the contribution from the loyalty program was 16%. We see that the contribution from this program is going to about 25% in the future years to come. So, as you know, we are providing franchising and the management services, but we don't differentiate between a franchise owner and a management owner. Yes, in a management contract, we provide extended services, which owner always understand that. But as far as the sales, marketing, quality assurance are concerned, they are equal for whether a property is a franchise or a managed. We don't make a
Thanks a lot.
difference in that. Thank you.
Thank you. Balvinder, how the distribution and marketing thing works for you, for your franchise owners, in terms of RFPs, OTA commissions, whatever advantages actually they're taking with your network?
So, Nandi, even for us, and I guess that's pretty much same for each and every hotel operator. So the only difference between a managed and a franchise operation is the first part, wherein in the management contract, we are doing an active management of day-to-day operations. We're responsible for budgets, everything else. However, in a franchise, it's the other way around. We are more on a reactive support basis. You need a help, we give you that help. But as far as the sales, marketing, distribution is concerned, that's absolutely same, whether it's a franchise or a management contract. Like I said, for a consumer doesn't know whether it's a management or a franchise. Similarly, the people who are working in the hotel should not get feeling that they're working with the franchise or a management opportunity. They get all the sales and marketing distribution absolutely to the last team.
But with one more question, like typically on franchise, you charge the fees on the room revenue. Okay. Is that
so far, yes, but again, like I said, we're building on our franchise platform for India. Now you have to look at each and every hotel separately and look at what are the different streams of revenue down there. At the end of the day, I'll be honest in saying there's a certain amount of fees that we are looking at. If a hotel is going to have 40% of rooms and 60% of F&B, and you can positively impact that, you would want a pie in that. So the idea, Nandi, for me is it's mutual. Like before the panel, we were discussing hotel management or franchisee agreement are long-term relationship. You need to work and find solution which is a win-win for both of us. And looking at this, we will be flexible to adapt our models.
Thanks, Balvinder. Anika, coming to you, fire life safety is one of the major concerns when it comes to conversion transactions in the country. Because there are a lot of challenges doing conversion. It has its own limitations when you have to adapt a lot of as per the international norms. Whereas maybe you have a fire NOC as per the local body authorities guidelines. So how to tackle that type of problems in your conversion transaction? Are you facing these problems? You might have to leave a transaction because they're not able to comply the FLS international standards, or there's a way to make this work?
So Nandivardhan, for us, fire life safety is the holy grail. We will not hesitate to walk away from a transaction if it is not compliant as per our fire life safety standards. We follow the international code, NFPA. But the good news is that NBC 2016 is largely aligned to the international code that is mostly followed by international companies. So from that perspective, we are more sorted today than we were probably 6-7 years ago. Having said that, there are several transactions where we've converted a standalone hotel or another branded hotel into our system with the alignment of fire life safety measures as per our requirements. And I think your organization has run a couple of deals for us on that front, something like Jaipur, for example. So it's not a humongous challenge, but I would say that it needs effort and it needs attention. And I would like to say that the reason a brand advocates fire life safety compliance is also in the right interest of the owner, because the whole insurance ecosystem is fulcrum on your compliance with fire life safety standards. So if a hotel has an asset insurance and you're not fire life safety compliant, then definitely there is a very dangerous gap over there. And also looking at the macroeconomic scenario of India and the recent incidents that we have seen, it is in the interest of both the brand and the owner to be completely fire life safety compliant. So when it comes to a brand evaluation, there are two aspects. First, checkbox is definitely FLS, irrespective of which brand we are talking about, whether it's based to Wyndham or trademark collection. Then comes the brand alignment. However, for a soft brand like trademark collection by Wyndham, which is largely open for conversion opportunities and trading hotels, there the single most important aspect is FLS alignment. Good sense of interior aesthetics and a certain threshold TripAdvisor rating. So that's where we tweak our technical evaluation model a little bit. Irrespective of that, FLS continues to be single most important evaluation criteria for us.
Thanks, Anika. Amit, what do you think? The franchise is a good or viable option only for the hotels which have a limited inventory, like 100, 120 rooms, because probably owners can handle that more efficiently. Whereas when the inventory increases more than 250 rooms, it's better to be on a management contract. What's your views on that?
So I tend to agree with that. That if you have a hotel with smaller inventory, let's say 100 or sub 100, it is a good idea to look at franchise. Again, that's an option if they're looking at. But again, as I mentioned earlier, what's very important is that you have the right leadership team and the right infrastructure in place to do that. Because there is of course we can debate it, but there is a common notion that that brands generally have higher costs as far as benefits are concerned. So although we can debate it, but we are also managing 100 odd room properties as well right now. Even 100 room Hyatt places, a couple of them that we're managing, and we're successfully managing them. So, but if the owner thinks that there is an opportunity there, they have the right infrastructure, they can definitely look at for smaller assets. As far as bigger assets are concerned, they are much more complex. So I would definitely advise that go with the management company, with the operator, with the brand, because they have really good expertise. We've been managing hotels for the last 60 years around the globe, the last 32 years in India. So we understand the market really well. We are really strong in food and beverage, because with these large properties, you tend to have larger F&B component as well. So we understand that really well, both from restaurant as well as events point of view, and we know how to market them really well and get the revenue and provide the right experience to the guests. So I would definitely agree to what you said.
Thanks, Amit. Thanks for your inputs. Balvinder, coming to you. For a, let's say, 100 to 120 room conversion, because quite a few such hotels are available right now in the market for the conversion, what do you think? ROI for the owner will be better in a franchise arrangement or a management contract?
Nandi, it's a difficult question see at times, and it also depends on the location that you are in. For example, if you are in a key metro location wherein the distribution is ready to pump in a lot of support, it can work both ways. So I would agree more with what Amit said right now. See, there's a perceived notion that management cost increases. The cost of hotel operation increases in management contract. If you were to take that out for a bit, it is what is that you're getting in return when you're doing a management versus franchise. So that's the key. Otherwise, from a ROI perspective, if there's an owner who is essentially a large builder, he doesn't have time to run and manage the day-to-day operation of franchise, trust me, a management contract ROI would be better. On the other hand, if I'm the Swiss guy that Mr. Baljee talked about, I've done my hotel school, have come back, and my father was running a hotel, I could, with the franchisee, get a better ROI.
Nandi, I would like to step in here. So we have several examples in our portfolio where we are franchising 172 key property or 160 key property or 150 or 135, and even a 60 key property. So I think the times have evolved, and it's not as easy a decision-making criteria as it used to be. Okay, higher inventory management contract, lower inventory franchise. It's no longer that easy. There are a few things that one needs to consider. The first is the evolution of the hotel owning company. Where is it in its status of evolution as a hotel owner, right? The second is the location. The third is the business mix, as Atul also very rightly pointed out. So, for example, if there is a hotel which has a considerable amount of F&B and wellness, and we all know that franchise fees largely, positioned around gross room revenue and marginally around F&B revenue, it may make ROI sense for the owner to go for a franchise arrangement because there he would be parting with a lesser component of franchise fee versus management fee. So every opportunity will need to be looked at in a very nuanced manner. There is no generic solution. It has to be a custom fit for every deal, for every opportunity. And that's why, as custodians of development, it is up to us to rightfully advise an owner. So that's why that line that I said, what you know, what you want, and what you need, there is a big difference. Now, an owner may come to me saying that, he wants franchise, but maybe my advice may be that you should go for manage or vice versa. So I think we as developers need to play that role, that responsible role of rightfully advising an owner which arrangement suits him.
Very well.
Nandi, I would like to add that.
Sure.
So if the owner has the wherewithal, they have the right team in place, and they can do justice to, and they can extract the maximum out of the system that are already provided, because the systems are the same, whether it's a managed property or it's a franchise property. So if they can extract the maximum out of it, yes, why not? But they need to have the right team in place to do that. Because it shouldn't happen. Let's say there has to be a leadership team above the hotel level, and a strong one. Because tomorrow, let's say the GM and salespeople, both of them decide to leave. So you need to make sure you can handle that situation. Because brands, they're quite wide and they have multiple hotels. They can easily handle these kind of situations. So you want to make sure that these kind of situations, if they arise, you're able to do it, and you can extract the maximum out of the system that any brand is offering.
Nandi, just to add on, if I may, Mr. Baljee, please go ahead.
No, please, Balvinder, you just say it.
Right.
One of the worries which owners always have, that when they tie up with a brand, our costs are going to go up. Your GM, first question he asks, how much do we pay your GM? It's a really big cause of concern for them, because it is thing that the GM can get for 1.5 lakh salary. One of the concerns which I've seen in franchise hotels is that people feel that the cost of the GM is very, very high if we recommend somebody. So to counter that, what we've done now is that in this the lockdown period, we have trained a large number of our HODs for the management development program, and a large number of our HODs have been trained to take position as general managers. So now we have got a whole backup of general managers who know our system, who can be at a much lower level salary than what we can get from the market, and give to our new franchise or managed property. So that is the value proposition which we are providing. So we've taken this period, we've taken advantage of that by running this program. We've done also a program of multi-skilling. So all the hotels, because multi-skilling is somehow because of the dignity of labor, a receptionist will not clean the lobby, and vice versa. So we have made people do that in the last 3 months, and we trained a lot of people in multi-skilling. So people have now got trained across the thing, whatever foreign chains do abroad. But India has not been very successful. So I think this is an opportunity where we meet this work. So we will be able to work at a much lower staff ratio than we were able to do earlier. And another thing what we have done is now loyalty program. We are shifting all our PMS into cloud-based, so that we have a very strong loyalty program in place. We already have about 250,000 loyalty members across the country. So that between loyalty and RSOs, we are able to deliver at least 30 to 60% of the business of the hotel. So this is the counter to bigger chains from abroad. They have got huge nights, but then within the country be able to deliver that. So that's the value proposition which we are doing. Yes, we are also having reduced commission. from Make My Trip and all that, which is passed on to the owner. So whatever he pays us, he gets some benefit out of that. Definitely, there is a benefit. And as we go further, we are negotiating. As we are getting bigger, these OTAs are also giving us better and better commission. And hopefully, we should also get the commission which the big boys are getting.
So what's the staff ratio right now you're targeting?
Which one?
You with this multi-tasking training program which you're running, what's the target staff ratio right now for your system?
It's a good question, but it varies from hotel to hotel. Like, for example, in Royal Orchid Hotel, which is a 5-star 200-room hotel, we need to run it with 350 people. Now, our target is after this COVID, when we come to normal situation, we will not cross 200 people. So that is what we are trying to do now, and so 1:1 will be the ratio. But of course, we have a smaller hotel, like we have a 100-year-old heritage property in Mysore Metropole Hotel. This is a 30-room hotel. Okay, so there you will have to have. We were having 75 people working there. Now we'll have 60 people. So there's an SOP component also, and below a certain number you can't do. Yeah. But HODs, what used to have a battery of HODs, they're all gone. So now there'll be a GM and there'll be probably 2 people. One person will be front office and housekeeping, taking care of the accounts fellow will take care of IT as well as stores. So all that has been done. The number of people will get reduced. But there is no one formula for all the size of the hotel, which market it is in, what it is catering to. But there is a substantial, I would say, there will be a 30% reduction in salaries, which is going to happen, which already happened. But when we go to October onward, where we are feeling October or January when the business returns, we feel there will be a 30% saving in the salary.
Balvinder, you want to say something?
So, Nandi, all that I was trying to do was build on what Amit and Anika said. The decision in terms of for an owner, what is right, management or franchise. See, when you look at a franchise, you need to understand what is the why of the owner. If the owner is saying that, okay, he's going to save 3-4% because between management and franchise, that may not be the best decision to start with. On the other hand, you may have owners, and in fact, I've signed one starting of this year, wherein when you walk into this guy's office, you go and look at his back office of his existing hotels, and you know that you're giving somebody, you're making someone a custodian of your brand who can take care of it. So that's the key, more than whether who's fit and what should be done franchise on. It's just a small percentage difference.
Okay, Nandi, can I just comment regarding this ROI? As far as the ROI is concerned, it's not only the return on the investment, but also a combination of the revenue versus the cost. How the owner, in case of franchise properties, is extracting from the brand what Anika and Amit just mentioned. Extraction means that extracting all sort of revenue at the minimum cost. So the cost of acquisition of business must be keeping in mind when you acquire a business. So brand has very, very too many options in terms of the loyalty programs, in terms of the RFP processes, direct businesses, which comes at a lower cost than a business coming through the OTAs. But in case of a franchise, what we have seen is that owner generally rely more on the contribution from the OTAs than the brand. They feel that the brand, and they don't maintain the rate parity. So when you are not maintaining the rate parity, so you are leaving your revenues and your income on the table in the hands of the OTAs or the other distribution channels. So when it comes to the cost optimization, I firmly believe not in cutting the cost, but I firmly believe a cost optimization. So cutting the cost is a very easy way to reduce your cost and making a profit. But at what cost? Sometimes you cut corners and then the property needs renovation and upgradation after a couple of years. Then it balance it out after a couple of years, whatever you have earned in the earlier years. So I think it's a combination of both extracting the maximum out of the revenue through the brand and optimization of your cost. Then you can derive the right amount of ROI for your investment over a period of time. This is what I want to just add. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Baljee, on a positive note, if you can share one successful case study of a franchise hotel owner in your chain, it will be good, and how you turned around from a existing, maybe a conversion story or a greenfield. I leave up to you.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of one Regenta Central in Ahmedabad. Here is where I said that we were in discussion, and then the owner decided to go it on his own. And then what happened was that he ran the hotel for a few months on his own, and he got back to us that okay, I want a franchise. So we saw the hotel fantastic, all hotel, but very nicely done. And owner, as I mentioned, he was studying abroad. So we signed up with him, and we got an increment almost of 30% bump up in the revenue within the next 2 months. Then we realized that instead of a clutter of so many brands and all that, how does this brand stand up? And then the ISO support, he got 30, and we've said that we're giving almost 30 to 60% increase. Another hotel which is doing very well is a hotel in Kolkata, where again the owner is a hotelier, was running hotel for a long time, and he's got so many restaurants also besides other businesses. So he thought that maybe it would be a good idea to go for a franchise. And when he went for a franchise, in fact, the last visit to Calcutta, I just went there because I don't get into nitty-gritty of a daily figures. But I asked that general manager will be taking a round. But how do you support from RSOs and all that? So very good, sir. We get 25 to 30% of our business from Calcutta and from Delhi, and 25 to 30% business from Bombay office. So I was very pleased because I thought usually he'll complain. So I was pleasantly surprised. So that's been a case also. Ludhiana is a case where revenue increased by 30%. The moment we took over, it was a Indian brand which was running on a management contract, and then they wanted to franchise us. So we took it on the franchise after that. And now, of course, they want to give it to us for management. Last couple of years, we're running on a franchise. Then, of course, in Kanpur, hugely successful. He's so happy that, of course, a lot of business are based in Kanpur and all that. But he said brand gives him, even the people said that, okay, where are you doing the wedding? Instead of doing an XYZ hotel, they're doing it in a Regenta hotel. So you get a little status when you are doing even a banquet in a branded hotel than a non-branded hotel. Even if it's Solitaire or something like that, Solitaire hotel or any other name, whatever it is there. If you're doing a branded hotel, you get a little status. Everybody wants to do his daughter's wedding or in a branded hotel. So they get that spin-off benefit also. I think it's working well for us. As I said today, we started off as owning company. We went and we built all our infrastructure. Then we went into management where we could provide a lot of support to all our owners because we could afford it. Because management companies face a lot of problems in the beginning because they're not able to support. They need a critical mass. They need to have 30, 40 hotels before they're able to afford all the marketing, sales, revenue, all the infrastructure they're able to afford. So we were able to afford it from the day one. And now we've gone into franchising. Both we offer people franchise and management. And then, depending on our discussion with them, we take a decision what to offer.
Thanks, Mr. Baljee. Okay, gentlemen, Anika, we're in the last leg. So I would like to take one final word of advice for hotel owners who are looking for a conversion transaction under a franchise. What's your advice and what you can bring on the table in a one or two liners? Amit, we'll start with you.
So I think whoever has an existing asset, I think the most important thing is to understand that for brands, fire life safety is the key. And for us, between NFPA and National Building Code and the brand standard, we have to see whichever is the most stringent one. We have to follow that. So that's one very particular important thing. Second important thing is also that every brand has got certain key elements and core elements that they need to have within the hotel. So they need to ensure that those experiences are there and can be created in your product for you to convert your hotel from an independent property into a branded hotel. Yeah.
Thanks, Amit. Atul?
I would just say that is the engagement, trust, and expertise. When I say the engagement, owner should engage with the brand, whether a franchise or a management, in the beginning of the project, and so that they get the expert advice during the project conception and inception and the development of the hotel and post the operation. And engagement is most important. Generally, what we have seen is that engagement in a franchise properties is much less than in a management property. And I would say that the all hotel operators, they have expert teams sitting in their office just to support all the hotel owners. I think just rely on them and listen to them, whatever their advices are. And it's only for their own benefit.
Thank you. Mr. Baljee?
I would say that a couple of things are missed out is the jurisdiction part of it. Foreign brand will normally have jurisdiction abroad, which sometimes can be very difficult for exit, or if the brand is not performing well, then it's very difficult to exit. And then there should be an exit clause also, which we provide. We say if the guy is not very happy with us, then why does okay, we are not able to deliver. It's not that we'll be able to deliver 100% of the cases. In some cases, market is so bad that nobody is able to deliver, or the hotel is in a bad location, there should be an exit clause, which we provide. So jurisdiction and exit is what we agree. And also, as far as the sales team is concerned, they don't know whether the hotel is franchised or is managed or is owned. They're not told that no, this is an owned hotel, therefore you favor this hotel. Typically in Pune, we have one owned hotel and one hotel which is managed. So there's a question which is asked by the owner at that time, that who will first fill up your hotel? I say we look like fools in front of our staff. We tell that people, our sales team, that no, pehle usko bharo, and then you do this. No, this doesn't happen. We're a professional organization. We have to also behave professionally. Then tell them that these are all our hotels. And yes, we position the hotels a little different. One is a notch lower and one is a notch higher, Royal Orchid Suites, and one is Royal Orchid Central in Pune. And both are today now have a common sales team, actually. And they're doing rocking. Today the business is over 90%, for both the hotels. So I think sometimes this works to our favor also.
Thank you, Mr. Baljee. 30 seconds I have, Balvinder, please.
For me, Nandi, if I have to advise an owner who's looking at franchisee or conversion, the first thing that I'll say is define his why. See, all of us, brands, we bring substantial value in terms of distribution and a lot of other supports that we have inherited after 40, 50 years of experience. He has an opportunity to tap on the system to his advantage and get benefit out of it. So his research and why.
Anika.
So, Nandi, for me, the decision from the owner should be from the perspective whether he wants a higher degree of control. Does he want to let go of his bank accounts? Does he want to let go of having the authority to appoint his own people? Or does he want to keep that control with himself? Does he want to be somewhere on the right spectrum of getting professional international advice and at the same time being the master of his own destiny in terms of controlling his asset? So that's what will govern whether he wants to brand in itself or whether he wants to brand through management contract or franchise. It is a decision that has to come from his house of branding or his house of ownership on what exactly he wants. That should drive the branding.
Thanks, Anika. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a wonderful discussion with all of you. I'm sure our audience, especially the hotel owners, the industry professionals, have taken up some good insights from all of you. Thanks a lot for your time. And
Thank
have
you,
a wonderful
Nandi.
day.
Thank you, Mr. Baljee.